Sean, thank you for staying around and sticking with me. I know that there are tech-savvy parents here who are very curious about how Canopy works and what it does. So can you kind of go into the nuts and bolts here and tell us what exactly it does?
Absolutely. So at a high level, Canopy is software that you would download to your child's smartphone, tablet, or computer. And once installed, it effectively serves as a digital safety net. As your child browses on any browser, we are able to scan all internet traffic. When I say internet traffic, they go to a website, we're scanning the text, all the images, and all the videos in milliseconds, discerning if any of it contains nudity or pornography. And then if so, either blocking the page if too much of it is bad, or just removing the offensive content. So a great example is you go to one website, it's 20 images on it, 19 are benign Bitcoin memes or jokes or whatever have you, and one contains nudity. We can pull that one image out and still serve everything else up so that you're not encountering overblocking, which we know is oftentimes the death knell of many filters out there. So that's effectively what we do with internet traffic. For apps that we don't filter within, we give parents the choice to allow or block them. So that's kind of a second capability. We think there are some apps that contain content that's not appropriate for all ages. And so parents can just cut the internet off to those apps. And then the third thing is we've got a feature that scans photos taken by the device and saved to memory to determine if any of them are potentially problematic. And by problematic, I mean, do they contain nudity or minimal clothing? Those are the two different settings that we have. The way that works is, let's say that a child takes a photo that does include nudity. When our software scans it, we then give the child the choice. You can delete it and just be done, or you can send it to your mom or dad for approval, which hopefully, if it's not appropriate, they would not do.
That solves some problems
that,
right
we
there.
hope to deter sexting. So that's effectively what we do functionally. The way we do it is something that we're particularly excited about. And just a lot of advanced technology developed in Israel. Our parent company, NetSpark, has been around for over a decade. And they've done some amazing things there. They've got over 2 million devices protected. 90% of the schools there leverage their technology. And they realized a number of years ago that the internet was dynamic. And the only way that they could really safeguard families as they ventured into the internet was to have a tool that was as fast and dynamic as the internet itself. So to do that, they effectively developed really sophisticated image recognition technology that, thanks to machine learning, now is 99.7% accurate in discerning whether an image or a video contains pornography. So that's kind of the first advance. The second advance is they figured out how to do this on the fly. So as you are out there browsing the world and you go to a new website, let's say it's a website that was created 5 minutes ago, never been scanned before. We scan it in real time without forcing you to wait for a few minutes or an hour while we kind of inspect it. This is all done, artificial intelligence, very quick decision. If it's good, you're free to go. And so that enables us not to have to rely on an outdated list of, hey, these are bad domains, don't go there. We scan everything on the fly as we go. And then the third thing is they figured out how to apply it to images captured by the device itself. Again, so that we can make sure that photos of kids that might be inappropriate aren't being saved and then circulated to the outside world. So it's a little bit about how the tech works. We think it's a radically different approach to inspecting and filtering content, and one that really gives families a chance to explore the world without being exposed to a lot of the bad stuff that's out there.
Cool. So let me ask you. So let's say a kid stumbles onto a page that has, one image that's considered bad. Are parents flagged at that point? Do they get a message that says, hey, your kid just encountered this? Or is it kind of based on the honor system?
So right now, if you encounter, let me walk you through two scenarios.
Okay.
If your child visits a page that has one bad image on it, we extract the image, and more often than not, the child won't even know that that's been taken out. So oftentimes the kids aren't even aware that there could have been bad content there that's been removed.
Okay.
If they try and visit a page where too much of the content is bad, where it is clearly pornographic in nature, we then block that page. At that point, the child has the option to request permission to access it. And we think that's an important feature just because sometimes, we have had an actual example where a child was doing biology homework and they were directed to a anatomy website, and it included some real pictures, but it was educational material.
Right. Sure.
And
Okay.
so they requested permission, the parent reviewed it, and we heard this anecdote after the fact. We don't alert parents right now automatically if the child decides not to. And that was something we've gone back and forth on. We may reverse that at some point, but one of the things we're really keen to do at Canopy is make sure that parents and kids have good relationships. And one of the chief complaints that we heard when doing research out here, but also the experience of our parent company in Israel, was that kids do not like when they feel like their parents are spying on them. Protecting them, they're fine.
Right.
Spying on them makes them feel it erodes the trust there, which is something that we never want to do. We really want to bring parents and kids together that have better, healthier relationships. And so that's why we adopted the current policy that we have. We do receive requests for it.
Sure.
And
I bet.
a lot of parents do want to understand how their kids are interacting with the online world. And so we're open to it. But our big posture and the thing that will always guide us is, are we taking steps to help families flourish? Are we bringing parents and kids together? We want parents to parent in the digital world like they do in the offline world, and not institute things that are going to sabotage that relationship, or we want to set the table for success.
Right. And that's what I was kind of picking up on that as you were talking about it. I'm like, well, you give kids the choice to save this image or not, or to go to this website or not. That's really different. If you had asked me, this morning, how I thought your software worked, I would have told you one thing. But to sit here and listen to it and realize that you're taking away bad content, but you are helping to foster good decisions. And I think that's a good combination.
That's our hope. That's our hope. And one thing that we found is that signal is powerful with kids. So the fact that a parent, even if the parent doesn't have the conversation with Canopy, but they still install it on the device, it's sending a signal to the child about what's important. And more often than not, it prompts that conversation about, hey, why is some of this content restricted, offline, not available to me anymore? And so that's ultimately where we want to go. Again, we want to bring this together. And our first act is to make sure that kids aren't exposed to pornography, and that there are tools in place to prevent sexting. But we've got a lot of other things coming down the pipe that we're really excited, all in the vein of really helping families live with tech well. So
very good, man. Well, Sean, I appreciate your time. Thank you for sticking around, and thank you for all the good work you're doing.
thank you so much, Andy.